Bam, bam, bam. What is up? And welcome back to Nando Talk. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. Sorry for the delay, is what I meant to say. I'm a bit rusty now. We've been a little bit backed up with school. Not so much Dolphins news, but the season, the 2022-2023 season has officially ended. And when one season ends, another begins. We got the notes. General Dolphins talk today, general NFL news, just general football talk. If you got some questions, drop them in, doing a little bit of Q&A as well. Just a quick 30. Just really hitting some key points out there, some things that I've been wanting to discuss as we look forward to this new 2023 season. Little things, stuff like the Dolphins are top 10 in the ESPN 2023 rankings. Way too early. We're eighth, that's pretty nice to see. I could have said top 8, but then, we're just eighth. But top 10, firmly in there. We love to see it. Obviously, you're going to see teams like the Chiefs, the Eagles there, with them both having been in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs having won crazy 38-35. But the Dolphins being there at 8 without the moves that we are yet to make in this offseason, that the Dolphins are 8th without hopefully adding more pieces to the offensive line, some more secondary changes. That's what you love to see. One of the big things that they talked about there is getting healthy, which, of course, you love to see guys like Brandon Jones, True Williams posting their recovery, seeming to be well on their way to be ready to hopefully be good to go for preseasons, for some nice training camp. And that's what you love to see, man. But the 2023 Dolphins, oof, a top 10 team? I believe so easily, man. Yes, we're going to have one of the hardest schedules, supposedly the second hardest strength schedule, but it's only the first couple weeks. After that, it tails off to a very easy schedule. Okay, we're going to be met with the grinder up front, getting tough. We're going to truly see what the Dolphins team is made out of, and then we'll tap her off. It's not the same schedule last year. Hopefully, hopefully that's what most of our opponents are. We'll be able to mix it up with some good scheduling. We'll have to see how that shakes all down in May, but our opponents are a bunch of good teams, and then the rest of them not so much. So that's what we really are hoping to see there. But when we're back at 100%, guys, we've seen that this team can hang with anyone. The tone of this offseason is filling out the necessary depth, filling out the necessary pieces, getting the right guys. And tomorrow on Tinfoil Hat Thursday, we'll dive further into some of the crazier, zanier options out there. There is some news to cover though, and briefly I'll be throwing on the tinfoil hat because Derek Carr has been released from the Las Vegas Raiders. There was no trade; his no trade clause was exercised. They were going to get nothing for him. They were going to have to hooked onto that $40 million fully guaranteed. So bada bing, bada bam, wakata, snip, 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 snap. They cut Mr. Derek Carr. Crazy to see. So much blood, sweat, and tears put on into that Raiders uniform, and all to be let go so unceremoniously. Wild to see. But he should be looking at a big contract day. Derek Carr, according to Sports Track, he's looking around like $37 million a year. With pretty penny for Derek Carr to be top 10 now. It would move to more around the top 15 range once guys like Burrow, Herbert, they get their money. But we'll see. Lamar, obviously, as well. So we'll see how that all shakes down. But for all intents and purposes, Derek Carr should be a big quarterback option on the free agency market. If anything, he is the best quarterback option. And very rarely do quarterbacks at that level hit free agency. Very rarely do they get the chance to decide what team they go to. That being said, he is probably going to the AFC East. There's talks of him maybe going to the Jets. Okay, there's talks of maybe even talks of him going to the Pats. That would suck. I don't see that. If anything, I see the Jets. Maybe talks of him going down to the Saints as well. However, there could be an option of him going to the Miami Dolphins, and that's where I start to get the tinfoil hat on because, well, I do think Derek Carr, and I like him as a player. I like him as a talent. And I hope the best for him unless he ends up on the Jets. Even if he ends up on the Pats, I hope he's whatever, and I hope that they implode in other places. I hope the best for Derek Carr's career. I hope that he steps forward. However, for the Miami Dolphins, I get it that the cap is fake. I get it that Greer can make magic happen. And you always want to take a stab and a swing at an upgraded quarterback. But is Derek Carr truly an upgrade from Tua Tagovailoa? We're talking about a quarterback who is aging to pay him $36, $37 million, a guy with a 63-80 record, a guy who, even when handed the keys, the guys you got the handpick is Devontae Adams. He had his Hunter Renfro. Josh Jacobs is tearing it up in the NFL. And I like Carr, but I don't know if he's how much better than Tua. Okay, with Tua, we've seen when he's healthy, when he's fully ready to go, he's clicking high flying, high cylinders, bada bing, bada bang. The offense is zipping and zooming, dipping and dashing all across the field. And I'd rather just keep that at a cheaper tag. If anything, maybe Tua goes for a Carr-esque contract at maybe 40 million in a couple of years, and he's younger, shown to be a higher ceiling. Why would I go for Carr now? Oh, I that being said, we do have the tinfoil hat on. So if McDaniel does take a swing and a stab for Carr, if the Dolphins do go that route, I'd have to support it. That'd be it'd be a big arm, a guy who can connect with areas of the field that maybe Tua can't, and it'd be something worth exploring. However, for the money that it's going to cost, that 36, 38 million, and if cap is sure, free that up. We have negative $2 million, I think, projected right now. -5, -2, around there. Granted, we're going to make some cuts, we're going to make some moves, and that should free some money up. And there's some trade options that we can explore as well to fix our cap situation. But I get it. Paying a quarterback is worth it. But we're still a team that is shown to be holes. And if Derek Carr is not an upgrade, whether there's a couple camps you can fall in. 2-1, you can say Derek Carr is a little worse than him. You can say he's a little better than him, or he's the same. But is he a $37 million upgrade worth? I don't think so. Not at all. Derek Carr, the contract that it would cost for not that much of an upgrade, if at best, and at worst, maybe even a downgrade, or just staying the same. You can't fill out offensive line depth. You can't fill out secondary depth. We had to still sign running backs. We'd have to hopefully hit all of those home runs in the draft and just not really rely on free agency. If we're going to free up moves, if we're going to create some magic on cap space and create some salary cap, I'd rather address other holes, And this isn't the best analogy, but if you have a boat, and it's a good boat, it just has a couple of holes that you got to patch up so the water starts coming in. Yeah, QB might be a big hole, but I'd rather fill up all the other holes around it. Right? And then I just got to worry about one hole, and that hole is just staying healthy. Right? God damn, man. It's going to be interesting to see how we play out. I don't think we go for the Derek Carr route. I don't see that happening. However, if he goes to the Jets, if he goes to the Pats, if he goes to the AFC, it continues. Well, it stays in the AFC, I guess. But going to the Jets, that'd be a situation where the Dolphins are hard-pressed to make more moves, have that pressure. And on one hand, it's a little scary as the AFC East gets stronger, and this goes for everyone in the AFC East. But I also like competition. I think that'll keep the Dolphins hot and hungry. It'll keep us wanting to make moves. So it is not a challenge I shy away from. Derek Carr, take your 63-80 record and come to the Dolphins. I'll support you, and I hope we take that to those 80 losses are the last losses you ever see in your life. If you go to the Jets, I hope those 63 wins are the last wins you ever win. So that's just how it rolls. That's just how we rock, man. I support people who are on the Dolphins. If you're not on the Dolphins, I can speculate about you, but until you're actually on the team, I'm not a fan of you. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. We're live. We're rocking and rolling. Ooh, how's it going? We got some people in. I was just reading some stats, so I have not checked in. Wakata, thanks for tuning in, bro. Hey, how's it, Mr. Cap? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Rafa as well. We appreciate you guys tuning in right now to some nice little Dolphins general talk. We're a top 10 team according to ESPN, man. We're allowed to have these conversations. We're allowed to speculate, see how we're going. We're a top 10 team, and we still have to figure out what we're going to do at running back. Okay, last week I had speculated a little bit about Dalvin Cook. He's having a cleanup surgery for his shoulder. Not sure how I feel about that. It's one of the downsides we talked about with a guy like Dalvin Cook who has to start worrying about his health. That's why you don't want to pay big money to running backs. Maybe a situation we start to shy away from. So maybe we start looking more again in the draft. maybe we start searching for running back in free agency. I'm still not opposed to bringing back Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, mainly because I think there are bigger areas of concern, like fixing out and filling out our offensive line still improves our running backs. So, hey, if Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert were able to run and able to average a nice, decent yard per carry behind what we had last year, further improving the line is definitely the way to go. Like, I need some depth at tackle, man. I need some little help there. It was interesting to see, Chiefs had allowed 0 sacks in the Super Bowl against a D line as ferocious as the Eagles. That's insane. As a D line that had 70 plus sacks in the regular season. My oh my. Okay, what could the Dolphins do with a line that well? I'd love to see it. Now, granted, going from what we had last year to that in one shot, not going to always happen. But if the Chiefs keep Orlando Brown, then keep him. If he's available, that's a situation where it's, hey, let's go cheaper on running backs, save some money, and go for a guy like Orlando Brown Jr., who, yeah, he is left tackle because he wants to get that blind side money, but he used to play right tackle on Baltimore. Oh, and Orlando Brown Jr. only plays left tackle because he wants to get paid that big money, blind side money. Well, guess what, bud? You can switch back to right tackle, your natural position, and guard the blind side here on the Dolphins. That'd be an awesome signing that I'd be very interested to see. Oof. Oh, I didn't see this question. My bad. I hella want Carr. Okay, Rafa. If Carr came, maybe Gasecki stays. That'd be interesting. Okay. So, if Derek Carr were to come, put my little speculation hat on. This is actually a great question, though. Okay, so if Derek Carr were to come to the Miami Dolphins, maybe Gasecki stays. Yes, because I'd agree there, just because what Derek Carr and Darren Waller have done, him being able to utilize that big body athletic tight end has been pretty fun to watch the last couple of years. Okay. Especially when they play the Chiefs. It was like Mahomes has Kelsey, Derek Carr has Darren Waller. What are they going to do? And then they keep battling it out on that end. Part of the reason why Carr at times missed a beat, missed a step this year is because Waller was not fully healthy. He was banged up. So if Derek Carr were to come to the Miami Dolphins, I could see John Embry saying, hey, man, I think we need this. We need an athletic tight end weapon because Carr just likes that guy. And Gasecki could be utilized a little bit more there. Now, Waller is a better blocker. Waller is a better blocker than Gasecki, but they do fit that athletic tight end freak mold. So that could be an interesting move. However, that's kind of the thing, man. If we bring in Carr, it's a $35, $37 million deal. Yeah, we move on from Tua probably in that scenario. Um, but where do we get the money from Gasecki? Cap space is fake, so assume we can figure it out. That does mean that whatever money we create to fit at tight end, we are minimizing at other spots. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I think they'd want to keep Gasecki. I don't know if they could keep Gasecki if Carr comes. But that's a great question, man. Thank you for that. Ooh, how are we feeling, my fellow Finns fans, right now? We got keep asking great questions like Rafa. That was an awesome one. Keep tuning in for my spiels and my random notes as well. That's always a fun time indeed. But just general Dolphins talk, general vibes. I've been away from streaming for a tad, so I just wanted to get back into it a bit. Voice is better. I'm fully rested. School's under control. Works pretty good. And tomorrow's Tinfoil Hat Thursday, and that's always the segment I rock no matter what. So had to make sure today I got some reps back in. We're cooking again. So hope everyone's doing fine. Hope the news for the Miami Dolphins hasn't been anything too crazy. Yes, we have seen the Eagles. Okay, we have seen them. Shane Steichen, I think I'm butchering that guy's name, but their offensive coordinator has moved on to be the Indianapolis Colts head coach. He fills in that role. It should be interesting to see how he has helped a lot of quarterbacks and out in his career, and he's With Hurts, he's got to see a bit of a different angle, a bit of a not necessarily just a passer, but also a bit of a runner. So they'll probably be drafting a quarterback, unless Chris Ballard likes to trade back. We all saw that little quote, little quote that he said in his little press conference. I like my picks. I like to trade back. So maybe the Colts trade back, but for all intents and purposes, they should be going for a big name quarterback in the draft, and Shane Steichen should be a great guy to develop that. Now, for the Cardinals, they hired Jonathan Gannon. They hired the defensive coordinator of the Eagles. So those moves are there. They have stripped the Eagles of their coordinators. It's going to be interesting to see how the Cardinals and the Colts shake out. Generally, when there is those big, high flying Super Bowl contending teams and their coordinators leave, not everyone is. We find out who was truly crucial to the team's success and who merely rode on the coattails of great players. Um, I'm rooting a little bit more for Steichen and what he's doing in the Colts. I loved what he provided in the press conference. He seemed to be very active and sharp, name dropping what he was going to do with Pittman, what he was going to do with Jonathan Taylor. That was awesome to see, particularly because I own Michael Pittman in Dynasty Fantasy Football. So keep rocking and rolling right there. But when it comes to things like Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals, we'll see if a younger coach can hold the reins on a guy like Kyler Murray. But oh well. Who's at fault for Will Fuller and Byron Jones, GM and coach? Will Fuller and Byron Jones are slightly different scenarios in my book. I used to think they were very similar, but my buddies and I have talked about this pretty extensively whenever we get a little frustrated with the Dolphins. For Fuller, it was a guy who has had a lot of injury concerns in the NFL, man. And I liked him. I think he showed flashes when he was with the Texans, and I was very excited for the signing. And then he just got that little finger injury, and we never really found out what happened again. To my knowledge, I don't believe he even got signed this year. Um, I think he was just a free agent all offseason, man. I'm double checking right now so I don't talk out of my ass. But yeah, after what happened in Miami, no team signed Will Fuller. So what he did was probably some shady stuff, collected his check, and then he's a player who's had problem with suspensions in the past, and I just don't see it. So I think that was a bad move on our part, and it seems that other GMs and other teams have said stay away from Will Fuller. Like that was a big red flag. Whatever happened there, I believe the team didn't air out the dirty laundry because they're trying to be professional about it. But behind closed doors, yeah, other teams in the NFL have not looked at Will, so that's very telling. With Byron Jones, I do think he worried about his money and then figured out his surgery, which is a little frustrating. But at the same time, I can't fault a player like that concerning about his health. With the finger, it's one thing. With Byron Jones actually requiring surgery and being at least transparent on that, his real issue was delaying the surgery. And then at one point of the season, I guess there's probably just causes more friction. And then again, dirty laundry has not been aired out. But whether it's friction, whether it's health wise, Byron Jones doesn't suit up for the Dolphins again this entire year. There's little snippets of, oh, we can't really discuss much about the Byron situation from some coaches. And some guys like Sam Madison say, some players play through injuries, some don't. And then he just moves on. So there's clearly a disconnect there. I'd be very surprised if Byron Jones stays with the Dolphins. We might trade him. Hopefully we can get some good value for him. We might not be able to get value for him and decide to keep him. And honestly, if we keep him, as long as the coaches are fine with him, as long as the players are fine with him, I'd be okay with that. I do think it's a different situation, a different scenario. And the most important thing is our locker room being cool with it. But I'd want to trade Byron. That's my opinion. I think the ship has sailed, and it's time to recoup some value on him and move on. Colts hiring reminds you of Joe Philbin. I could definitely see that, man. Like Shane Steichen is not it's not like the craziest name, the craziest signing, and it again begs the question as to why has Eric Bieniemy not been given a job? It's a guy who has a much better track record with a much better tree. The only thing I liked about Shane Steichen, the thing like he kind of looks like Philbin. he definitely sounds a lot smarter than Sleepy Joe, though. So it's out of Gannon or Steichen, I think that again, I think I'm butchering that name, but between the Colts head coach and Jonathan Gannon for the Cardinals, I think that the Colts will probably rock a little better. I think they've got a higher chance of actually hitting on that coach. But we'll see how it plays out, man. Indianapolis has a big work to do. So do the Cardinals. The Dolphins do as well, but it's not the biggest role. Yes, a move like a Carr to the Jets or Rodgers to the Jets or big moves to the Jets or to the Patriots, or if the Bills could somehow figure out their cap situation and retain some big guys like Poyer, all those moves could definitely light a fire under Miami's ass and cause us to try to swing big again. But I think a lot of our big swinging was done last year and at the trade deadline. We don't have any first rounders. So the assets we do have in the draft, I hope we're going to keep. I hope we're going to look to be able to keep bringing in young players because that's how you sustain a good team. You hit guys in the draft. You reload every year with younger contracts that allow you to make the tough decisions on who gets the big money and who unfortunately has to walk. So hope this is a big year for us in the draft. In free agency, though, if we can create some cap space, and again, I'm going to keep banging on it. Allocate less at running back, put forth more in offensive line depth or starting right tackle because Greer, yes, you said Eichenberg and Austin Jackson are going to get us a job, the right to fight for a starting job. I hope it's fighting for one job, okay, not for left guard and right tackle. I hope both these guys are going to be competing for guard and specifically left guard. Okay, that'd make me feel a lot more comfortable in what the Dolphins are going to be doing, but maybe improving a third safety as well would be nice. Eric Rowe is still one of the higher end safeties in the NFL, but Brandon Jones, Javon Holland, I love what they do, and upgrading there at a third guy in coverage would be awesome. But ideally, we'll probably spend more of that money if we move Byron Jones, probably trying to fill up some more corner roles. It's Q. What is up, boss man? Thank you for tuning in. How's it going? I'd love to do that. Thanks for tuning in, man. Hope you're doing well, Q. Carr wants a team that plays the Raiders to get revenge. I don't think the Dolphins play the Raiders next year, right? Maybe we do. Miami Dolphins 2023 opponents. I don't have that memorized yet. Let me check right here. Do. Oh, that's how we check it. If we play the Raiders, I got it right here. Oh, we do play the Raiders at home. Oh yeah, dang, that's a very winnable game. Rafa, you were big on this card now. I've got to look more into it, man. I think it's just the money for it as well. But hey, at home, yeah, I'd be at that game. So that'd definitely be an interesting one to be at. Also, nice to see Mac Hollins and his little fro once again at Hard Rock. Oof. But I agree. At that same logic, Rafa, that would probably mean the Jets play the Raiders as well, right? So he's probably going to the Jets. And then, hey, we'll have to see. That 63-80 record definitely didn't sit too pretty with me. Now, granted, we've seen guys like Matt Stafford who've had a cruddy record and then they go and win a Super Bowl, but be interesting to see. I'm a little torn on the Carr subject. I wanted to talk a lot more about it tomorrow on the Tinfoil Hat Thursday and really dive down the rabbit hole with it, but I know it's going to be a bigger topic in coming weeks. We can all agree that Derek Carr is the best free agent market at quarterback this year and probably in a bit. I'm assuming Lamar Jackson is tagged and whatnot and is good to go, yada yada. But it's going to be a feeding frenzy on March 15th when the free agency officially opens. Oh, your pups diehard Raider fans. Okay, so if you have a little bit more insight and a little bit more like looking onto the Derek Carr situation. I like Carr as a player, man. I do think he's talented. I do like his arm. I do like his moxie. I do like his character. Um, People made fun of him when he was crying. I think it's a guy who plays with emotion, with a guy who put a lot on the line for the Raiders, and to be tossed aside like that is never a good feeling. I am not a fan of Josh McDaniels, and I hate him even more. So, but is he better than Tua? That's the question. Objectively, no, he's not. I tend to agree, Q. I think that if it's, you know, Tua's here, then Carr's either the same, a little lower, or a little higher. I don't think he's too crazy of an improvement, particularly for the price. That's always been my thing when you look at improving quarterback. How big is the upgrade for how the increase in salary? Okay, because with a guy like Carr, obviously, if we're talking about, when we were talking about guys like, I don't know, like you're talking about prime Tom Brady, obviously, prime Tom Brady, the increase in salary doesn't matter because the increase in talent is insane. You're looking at Derek Carr at his age, what he's produced in recent years. Is the increase in salary worth the potential increase in quarterback? Maybe same level or worse, maybe steadier quarterback, if anything. I think maybe we can agree at that. Maybe he's a more steady quarterback who's not going to really go down. Sure. Is that worth the money for Carr? I don't know. I don't think so. Because you could argue talent wise, Lamar is worth the money for the Dolphins. I just think it begs the same question health wise. So there's an argument more for Lamar than there is for Carr if we're going to be doing some big paying. Even for a guy like Rodgers, Carr to me is the most appealing thing for him is that as a free agent, we don't have to give up picks. We don't have to lose players. We just have to negotiate and sign him all aboard. So that'd be interesting. Another thing I saw with Carr, which is why I think he might go to the Jets, though, is because maybe Devontae Adams would want to follow suit to whatever team he goes to as well. The Raiders weren't able to recoup any picks for Carr, but maybe they can recoup some picks for Adams. That'd be something interesting to see for sure. But we'll have to see how that all shakes out, guys. But I think with Lamar is 12 games, 12 games of the last 2 seasons Lamar Jackson has played. Talent-wise, awesome, great player. I've edited a lot on this channel. I saw Lamar at Louisville. When he came to Syracuse, I was there and in the Carrier Dome when he threw for 400 yards, rushed for 200, had 6 touchdowns, and is a monster. Man is an unreal talent. I stand by that. Okay. Is he worth it? I'd rather not have to be the one to figure out if it's the health thing. Now, granted, that's probably the same logic that made us miss out on a guy like Drew Brees. But my thing is, if Lamar was a free agent, I'd pay him. Let's go. The contract is worth it. It's the price of the contract plus what we'd have to give the Ravens to be able to get Lamar. That's what doesn't sit too pretty with me. Okay. You look at stuff like what the Russell Wilson price tag was last year with 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and some defensive tackles, Shelby Harris, maybe I think. It's a lot of players, a lot of assets. Let's translate that for the Dolphins. It'd be 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a good tight end. We don't have Gesicki anymore, but let's say at least Smythe, D tackle like a Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins level, Tua. It's a lot. It's a lot to give up. If it's at least Stafford level, it's multiple first round picks. I think also a second. And they gave up Jared Goff, who you'd have to argue is Goff and Tua. How does that factor in a trade? And that all shakes out as well. It's very expensive for Lamar, I think. Okay. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. Carr could be friendly contract. That's where I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? That's Why? Again, I'd rather negotiate with the quarterback off of free agency because then you can get a team friendly contract. You can work with them directly. We're not sacrificing more assets. If anything, we're just putting in money, which I'm okay with that at the end of the day, if that's all it's going to cost. But who you, man? But I 1,000% agree, Q. It is going to be an extremely interesting off season, and we'll be checking that out further in. I always forget to put my little Nano Talk logo in back again, but oh well. Hey, it's all good. We're here, we're enjoying, and it's going to be one wild off season. But tomorrow we'll discuss it further on a little tinfoil hat Thursday. Further dive down some rabbit holes on what options we can do. That pretty much sums it up for my notes. It was a pretty quick, short episode. Just some general discussion on the Dolphins. And I'm just very proud of this team being a top 10 team looking forward. Didn't really discuss that too much, but again, it just all boils down to hitting on the right pieces in free agency, hitting on the right pieces in the draft, having an interesting offseason, getting healthy. And top 10, let's shoot top 5. Let's shoot Super Bowl. I don't see anybody else holding us back if we're fully healthy, ready, good to go. Year 2 of Mike McDaniel, Big Fangio ramping us up. Let's kill it, everybody. Thank you all for tuning into this quick Nando talk. I think tomorrow we'll be having a new camera as well. So that should be extremely interesting. So take care, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. As always, remember, here for Dolphins positive vibes. But most importantly, guys, fins up, chins up, and I'll see you all tomorrow. This has been a nice little Wakata Wednesday, General Dolphins talk. And I'll see you all tomorrow for a little tinfoil hat Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. Bada bing, bada bang. See you all tomorrow, and thanks for enjoying. Subscribe for more positive Dolphins vibes at Nando Talk. Thanks again.